Hey guys, Chris here. In this video, we're doing the 120 kilometers an hour or 75 miles per hour range test in the brand new Skoda Enyaq Coupe 85X Laurent and Clement. Today we're going to find out how far this new updated version of the Skoda Enyaq with more efficient electric motors can go on a full charge of battery. I'm currently at the press drive down here in the south of Germany, close to the Austrian border. So this isn't my normal route. So this is going to be a little bit shorter and may not be 100% comparable to tests we've done earlier with the Skoda Enyaq and other cars, just so you know that. But we're still going to do a route that's about half an hour to an hour, depending on how much time I have, depending on the traffic. But we're going to try to do it as close as possible to the other tests I've done here. And then at the end of the video, we're going to come back to these chargers, connect, and see what kind of charging speed we get after passive heating on the motorway driving for a few hours. If you want to see what this car does with active preheating, which this car does have both by navigation and manually, go check out my first impressions video of this car. It should be up on the channel already. So we're currently at 78%. I think we're going to disconnect now, get on the Autobahn, and see what range we get from this new Skoda Enyaq. We're now Oscar Mike and we're heading towards Austria. So we're heading east on the Autobahn. Not sure what the Autobahn here is called. I've driven this road before to Salzburg a few months back, but I don't remember what the road is called. I think it's called the A8 if I'm not mistaken. But it's really hilly, up and down and twisty, and there's a lot of traffic. And I don't know if we're starting from an elevation and then, climbing, because the consumption now is, well, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. We've only covered about 15 kilometers. I think we're going to try to do 50 kilometers at least in total. But so far, 24.3 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. Outside temperature is 4 degrees Celsius, and the roads are dry. We do have a crosswind from the south towards the north, about 1 meter per second. So again, not quite sure what direction we're driving. The road is twisting, but I think we're generally moving in the eastward direction. And once we hit that 25 kilometer mark in about 9 kilometers, we're going to turn around, go back to the chargers where we started. Okay, so according to the navigation system, this is where we're going to turn around. We've done, let's see, that's since start. Which one did I reset? This one? No, this one, long term. Yeah, so we've done 25 kilometers. We have about 30 kilometers, so 25 kilometers till we're back where we started. And average consumption now, 21.5 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. But we have, re-agened off the Autobahn. And since we haven't done, many kilometers, that is going to, skew the results positively for now. And also, I don't know, if we're climbing, this is pretty good consumption, but if we've been dropping in elevation, this may not be very good consumption. But we will know very shortly, because now we're heading back on Autobahn towards Munich, and then we're going to do another 25 kilometers. I think we're going to stop on the other side of the chargers, just to get a clean run from one side to the other without having to divert too much, since this is a very short test, only over 50 kilometers. We want to do just a clean ABA testing. Okay, here we are back at where we started, or the opposite side. We started over there on the left, which is the south station. We're now on the north side. There are chargers here, and but it doesn't work with plug and charge with this car. But I'm going to show you something really cool that I saw earlier. This is the brand new Mercedes EQG with almost no camouflage. This is super cool. Check this out, guys. Check this out. Wow, can't wait to see one of those. But okay, we're not here for that. We're going to do a quick stop here, and then we're going to go over to the other side, and then we're going to charge. So 20.3 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, 50 kilometers covered, 27 minutes. I don't think that consumption there is bad at all. That is pretty decent. 3.5 degrees Celsius outside. I think that's pretty good, actually. We're now back where we started, but all but one charger is occupied. And we have 2 Skoda Enyaqs in front of us now that are other press cars with this event. So I don't think I'm gonna charge now. I don't think I'm gonna charge at all. because it's just going to take too long time. But I have done a charging test already with this car, so I'm going to link that video in the description box down below. But a caveat again, guys, with that charging test was in my previous video, and what I did there is that I preconditioned the battery. So this car you can precondition manually via a button. That is really, really cool. And if you want to see what kind of charging speed I got with preconditioning, well, check that video out. But there just isn't time. I'm just not going to wait here because I'm going to go to the hotel, go to Austria, and go, continue this event. And then hopefully tomorrow I'll be able to drive a VRS. But with that out of the way, let's hop to the end of the video, to the conclusion, and see how this car performed versus the old version and other electric cars we've tested here on the channel. But before we do that, I just want to give a huge thanks to today's video sponsor, Elton, the most awesome charging app if you live in Norway, Sweden, Finland, or Denmark. And if we were in any of those countries, we could actually charge at these Ionity chargers with the Elton charging app. The Elton charging app works with almost all charge point operators in the Nordic countries. So one charging app, one payment method will let you charge at almost all charge point operators, making charging on the road, when going on trips, just owning an EV and charging so much easier. So if you want to download the Elton charging app, there will be a link in the description box down below. Before we end today's video, let's take a look at the battery pack size, the consumption, and then calculate theoretical range and see if this car does any better than the old car. Well, this car has a 77 kilowatt hour battery pack that is usable capacity. We take that number divided by today's consumption, 20.3 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, and then subtract 3% in heat loss. That gives us a theoretical range under today's conditions of 368 kilometers, which, if you look at the chart down below, versus the Coupe VRS we tested a little more than a year ago, that is marginally better. The consumption is a little bit lower, and the configurations of these two cars are pretty much the same. The old VRS has a little bit more horsepower, but I don't think that makes any difference at all. So a little bit better range, but if you look at the conditions, dry roads on both occasions, but today, much lower temperatures when we did that test back in Norway. Yes, maybe there is a difference in the terrain, maybe there is a difference in the length of this test, but usually as these tests, drag out in time, the consumption gets lower and lower in my experience. So I think this is still a representative test, even though it's about 1/4 of the length as my normal test. But even if we take all of that into consideration and we look at the much lower temperatures, this car still did better than the old car. So I think there is a genuine improvement with this new drivetrain. And that is pretty impressive. That is impressive because this is a car that already has very good efficiency and good range, and this new improved efficiency gives it even better range with that faster charging. Again, check that video out, the test I did with charging, because it is much, much better. So guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please drop me a thumbs up down below, and for more car content, as always, please subscribe. See you guys later, and goodbye.